Shalom. This week, here in the land of Israel, we will be concluding the book of Numbers with the reading of Sefer Bamidbar's final Torah portion, Parashat Masei. Outside the land of Israel, a double portion is being read, the last two portions of Numbers, Matot and Masei. Thus, we will once again be on the same page and coordinated with our brethren outside of Israel in time for Parashat Devarim, first Torah portion of the book of Deuteronomy, always read on the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av, or, as it will be this year, on the Shabbat on which Tisha B'Av will actually fall, and the fast, deferred on account of Shabbat, will be observed on Sunday, August 11th. Parashat Masei begins, chapter 33 and verse 1, "These are the journeys of the children of Israel, who went forth from the land of Egypt according to their legions, under the hand of Moses and Aaron." Verse 2 reads, "Moshe wrote their goings forth according to their journeys at the bidding of Hashem." And what follows is a listing by name of the to and fro and the fro and to of every single one of the Israelites' desert encampments. Why were the names of these places so important that Hashem should instruct Moshe to commit them to writing in the Torah, as if to be remembered forever? These places have no inherent holiness. They were only way stations. Our sages talk about this. Our sages talk about it and about how it seems that Hashem has an almost nostalgic way of looking at these past places, each of which was associated with various adventures, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, and how, cherishing his people so much, God looks back tenderly at every place that was part of taking them to where they are today. Rashi cites the Midrash Tanchuma, which states, "It is analogous to a king whose son became sick. So he took him to a faraway place to have him healed. On the way back, the father began citing all the stages of their journey, saying, 'Remember, this is where we sat down. Here you were cold. Here you had a headache.' Now that the goal of healing had been reached, the memories of what led up to this point, the events that were difficult at the time, but that were an integral part of the process, all of those memories became something to cherish." But if you open up your heart in the deepest way, there's a deeper understanding of these journeys and a deeper way of looking at this. The chapter begins by stating, "These are the journeys of the children of Israel who went forth from the land of Egypt." The mention of Egypt in this verse, now that we're finally about to enter the land, is not insignificant. The Torah is making it clear that these journeys were a direct continuation of whatever process was begun by leaving Egypt. If the Exodus is synonymous with redemption, then every stage, every step along the way is actually part of that redemption. And just as the Exodus from Egypt affected a major permanent deliverance for every generation, and thus we find that it's actually a positive commandment to remember the going out of Egypt every day, and like loving Hashem, this is one of the mitzvot that can be fulfilled constantly in our thoughts, so too, it's important to remember these journeys. And the fact is, it's important for each of us to remember our individual journeys. There are so many people whose past trauma and guilt makes them want to rewrite their personal history and burn up their bridges. But that isn't healthy. It would be a big mistake and would even show lack of appreciation for Hashem's hand in our lives. Because no matter what we've done and what we've been through, none of us are the person that we were yesterday. Thus the mentioning that the seemingly repetitious recital of the to and fro of each station, as in, they journeyed from Chatzerot and camped in Ritma. They journeyed from Ritma and camped in Rimon Paretz. They journeyed from Rimon Paretz and camped in Livna. They journeyed from Livna and camped in Risa. The meaning is this. Open up your heart in the deepest way. Without the place you came from, you would not have been able to come to the new place. If you would have skipped even one stage, you wouldn't be here today. That's the hand of Hashem. And there's that lesson again, that lesson of when we do teshuvah, when we repent from love, our past purposeful acts of rebellion are transmuted into merits. These journeys throughout the desert were a preparation for all future generations. They were a preparation for our own lives and the challenges that we'll be confronting, that we are confronting. The journeys we're reading about, they're like a gift bequeathed to us in our DNA, because in that first generation, Hashem prepared, through these wanderings, prepared a skill set and a toolkit even for us, even in our time. There's a total of 42 desert journeys. The holy Baal Shem Tov taught that every single person has to make these journeys throughout life, each of us on our way to where we're going. So what's the secret of these travels? Our sages teach that the main characteristic of being a person is the attribute of mahalech, which means moving. Human beings were not created to be stationary. We were meant to be constantly progressing, level by level, drawing closer to the Creator. But all the while that a person is caught, tied to gross physicality and not developing his or her relationship with Hashem, that person is stuck. Their spirit is prevented from spreading and from advancing from level to level. And that's why God took Israel out of the narrow place, Mitzrayim, the narrowness of Egypt. And He took us to the desert and He made us move. Exodus, if you know the song. That movement was the secret of shedding slavery and becoming free so that we would only serve Him. So during the dark times of your life, you must remember that Hashem took you out of Egypt and He took you through the desert, through all these places until today. And that is precisely why, in God's exquisite and compassionate timing, why the reading of this portion falls out during these 3 weeks, this period of time on the Hebrew calendar called Bein HaMitzarim, the narrow place between the straits, the annual time of mourning for the Holy Temple. As we conclude the book of Numbers, we're at a crossroads. As we're preparing for the passage to the land is preparing for us, for Israel. You know, imitators may make a lot of noise about their fictitious rights to this land. They may even fool some of the people some of the time, but it won't work. When the children of Israel entered the land, that's when its holiness was revealed, and no one else can see it. It wasn't for naught. Listen to this. It wasn't for naught that the forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Moshe, they all pined so much for this land. And you know, back in Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1, Hashem told Abraham, "Go to the land that I will show you." Was Hashem teasing him? Hashem is not teasing Abraham by not showing him the land immediately. The deepest meaning of these words, "I will show you," is simply that the land is hidden. It's only partially visible to the naked eye because He has to show it. He has to reveal it. But when the children of Israel entered, the holiness was revealed for them. And the holiness in the land of Israel is so powerful. The people have to start preparing themselves for this now. And here's another deep secret. In chapter 34, in the portion of Masei, the borders of the land are spelled out. You know why the land has borders? You know why it needs borders that Hashem actually established? Not for socio-political or economic reasons, and not to stop the flow of refugees. Hashem established its borders to contain the holiness. Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, is the source of holiness for the whole world. It has to flow only in measure. That's the whole reason why He has to describe the borders here. The people of Israel and the land of Israel are knotted together, all bound up and connected in a higher unity. They're one unit. When the people entered the land, they received an extra soul. The land received an increase in holiness at the same time. But the extra soul is dependent on their unity, and the tikkun of the land, its restoration, is dependent on their preparation. Even today, states the Zohar, on the first night when one comes to Eretz Israel to stay, he or she receives an additional soul, as if they're born anew. As we conclude the book of Numbers, recall that we have seen 2 generations, the generation of the desert and the generation that's about to enter into the land. How can we best sum up the generation of the desert, which was the focus of most of the book of Numbers? These are the people who ate the manna. That's the key to understanding who they were. So open up your heart in the deepest way. As we read these portions this week, we are at a crossroads in history. The generation of the land is preparing to enter. This is a game changer for humanity forever. Now, on the first verse of chapter 34, command the children of Israel and say to them, when you come to the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall to you as an inheritance. On that verse, the Midrash offers the following thought. When the manna fell, what blessing did they recite before they ate it? In the grace after meals, Birkat HaMazon, thanking Him, thanking God for the sustenance of the manna, They recited this blessing, "Blessed are you, God, who sustains everything." God sustains everything. But when they entered into the land and planted and sowed and reaped and prepared their food from the produce of the land, they recited a new blessing, thanking him, saying, "Blessed are you, God, for the land and for the sustenance." And in Hashem's eyes, teach our sages, this blessing is more precious. Manna was a present from heaven, a gift outright. It was the most sublime experience, eating from Hashem's table, the ultimate and highest kindness. And in that paragraph of the Birkat HaMazon, Grace After Meals, which ends with, "Who sustains everything," we recite, "Who sustains the whole world with his goodness, with grace and kindness and mercy." But when the children of Israel entered the land, a new blessing was added. And this new blessing, the blessing of the land, goes further. It's about Hashem giving to the children of Israel the ability to bring down the shefa themselves, the influence of blessing, through their own deeds. That is the ultimate human experience, being a partner with the Almighty. Now manna, that's bread from heaven, which is like the level of the written Torah, comparing the entire generation of the desert to the written Torah. But Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, that's the bubbling, flowing, continuous, clear water, the fountain of the oral Torah, which is activated through the people themselves, through their efforts. And the land of Israel, very much a part of this world, and yet different from anything else in this world, is even more precious than the manna, because the children of Israel merit to it through their efforts, their toil, and the sustenance is commensurate to the Torah. And therefore, in the desert, they were nourished by the manna, but in the land of Israel, the sustenance comes through working the land, working the land. The truth is, the secret is that here in the land of Israel, when we live with Hashem and work the land, we're still eating from his hand. The produce of the land is the manna transmuted. Or to be more precise, as we learn from the wording of the Grace After Meals, if anything, the produce of the land is higher than the manna, because everything is up to us. And the truth is that the land of Israel is the center and mainstay of the world. Through there flows out Torah and blessing to all the earth. And when the children of Israel entered into the land of Israel, the land's inner essence was revealed to them. This is one of the sukkahs of the verse in Psalms, chapter 31 and verse 20. "How great is your goodness that you have hidden away for those who fear you in the presence of men." It was revealed to them as opposed to everyone else. It has not been revealed to anyone else before or since. No one can see it, let alone channel it, save the children of Israel themselves. No one else can make it work. No one else has got the combination to the lock. They haven't got the keys. It's called the land of Israel because no one else can reveal its inner essence. These imitators, they may try to steal us blind, but it won't work. And when the children of Israel were forced to leave, the land lost all its appeal, all its splendor, all its blessing. And all that beauty, splendor, blessing was reactivated when they returned. Next week we begin Sefer Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, which is different than the first 4 books of the Torah. Over a period of 5 weeks, from the first day of the month of Shvat until the 7th of Adar, the day he left the world, Moshe spoke the words of the 5th book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, further exhorting and preparing his beloved nation to cross into the land and preparing them for the time that he would no longer be with them. Meantime, this week, as we conclude the book of Numbers, we will once again rise to our feet and declare, be strong, and let us be strengthened. Indeed, we are at a crossroads, and indeed we need strength in our time, to make the tikkun, the rectification for the land of Israel. And as we prepare to enter the month of Av, and we intensify in our spiritual yearning and desire for the Holy Temple, may Hashem bless Israel's leaders and all of us to see the land's intrinsic holiness and to stand up with courage and fortitude to the sham and chicanery of the deceivers and declare to the world once and for all that Hashem alone is the sovereign over the land of Israel and that he has commanded his people to inherit and settle the entire land, to build the Holy Temple, so that the ultimate blessing of the knowledge of God will flow freely from this land to the entire world.